and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic My Pillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Lions and tigers and bears, oh my! I thought everything was going to suck. What about inflation? We're not going to talk about inflation? Oil prices jump. Really? How many countries now get their oil from us? How much has Donald Trump brought onshore? You wouldn't know it in Democrat-run dungholes. But the rest of the country is thriving. Inflation is on its ass, like most people who live in Democrat areas. We'll discuss that and so much more after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Hot and humid, a high of 97 today. The Chicago Public Schools announcing late Monday it had laid off 162 employees. The layoffs come as CPS works to try and close a $732 million budget deficit. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill still mourning the loss of South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. At a hearing about the Supreme Court budget today, Justice Elena Kagan credits Graham for helping her in the confirmation process.
I want to express my gratitude towards him, not only for his support, but for approaching the confirmation process with the kind of seriousness that he did and the kind of respect he did.
Graham's sister, Darlene Graham, is set to be sworn in today to finish the remainder of his term. Inflation dropped more than expected in June as gas prices eased. Chicago sports all-star game tonight. Cubs and White Sox should be playing. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks ending higher following a cooler than expected consumer inflation report. The Dow was dragged lower for much of the trading day by Dow member IBM. Its stock tumbling 25% for its worst day on record after the company issued a profit warning due to a shift in customer spending from software to AI hardware and memory chips. However, the Dow was also boosted by Goldman Sachs. Its stock rose over 8% and hitting an all-time high after delivering a blockbuster earnings report. And oil gushed to a 4-week high on the Gulf conflict, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling over $79 a barrel. The Dow winners, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and NVIDIA. The Dow decliners, IBM, Microsoft, and Amgen. The Dow rising 10 points, the Nasdaq higher by 234, S&P 500 up 28. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Larry Elder doesn't hear anything from the Democrats.
When people get elected who are members of the Democrat Socialists of America, when you have people denouncing capitalism and promoting socialism, free buses, free health care, free housing, national rent control. Have you heard anybody in the Democratic Party other than John Fetterman push back? Look in the mirror.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Shaun Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, It's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming and that now is the time to diversify your portfolio before it's too late. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49, absolutely free for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. This kit includes critical information for investors with a retirement account seeking to own physical gold and silver, but want to do it tax and penalty free. Advantage Gold has helped investors protect and secure their wealth with physical gold and silver since 2014. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. See how gold and silver can help you protect and secure your wealth with the help of Advantage Gold. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, you are good to go. The Kennedy to get out to O'Hare, it's a 38-minute ride from the Jane Byrne interchange, while the Eisenhower 50 post office out to 390. Stevenson, it slows down to an hour and 5 to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to 355 and 25 minutes outbound Ryan. You will be tied up a bit in the Express 31st out to Marquette and to Saba Lakeshore Drive northbound. There's an accident at Roosevelt. That also slows down both directions northbound side at Cermak. Now the 4 right lanes are closed with an accident. Solid from the Hinsdale Oasis. Jane Addams Reagan 355 though, all good. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 75. On Wednesday, expect mostly sunny skies and very hot weather with a high of 97. Wednesday night will be mainly clear, warm, and humid with a low of 76. Thursday will be hot with a mix of sun and clouds along with widely separated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The high temperature for Thursday will reach 94. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
Right again.
And when the band
Squirrel, get the Trump was right about everything banner. Throw it out of the window and run it on the side of the building, will you, Squirrel? And that's what you have to realize. For decades, you were told about experts. Woo, experts. You know what an expert is for the last 30 years? Somebody who never did anything but make predictions they themselves never took a risk on, never took a chance on. And it turns out this is the best time in America to have the discussion of who is right and who is wrong. And all the wrong people seem to be in one specific party in America, the Fourth Reich, the new Fourth Reich in America. You're all wrong. as you always have been.
Number 6, here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really...
Oh, what happened to you? You got so nice. Didn't he get nice? I loved him when he smelled like Marlboros. Brilliant guy, Rick Santelli. But all of a sudden, he got polite. Not COVID, not just the last 5 years. Since you stole the 2020 election and put in... and all his band of morons and transvestites and lesbians and sickos to pretend to be a government. See, that's not only responsible for $9 trillion in the shortest period of time in this country or any country's history. Those are the American Dark Ages. And the good news is, it's over now, much to the chagrin of all of the policy architects that created the policies to be stolen in all their Democrat fiefdoms. And how did they do it, Squirrel? The same way they sold that green energy eco-Nazi bull dung with experts. How many experts were wrong and have been wrong today?
It's sure, energy prices have come down a lot, but everything else is going down too. And I think that's why, if you look at Bloomberg, they surveyed 67 economists, and 67 economists got it wrong because...
Bloomberg! You know Bloomberg is that squirrely-looking little fella. Oh, he's squirrely. Another trust fund. Butter-handed pansy. Fraud! A lot of money. Doesn't pay a lot of taxes, though. Do you, Mike? Scoundrel, scumbag, fraud, like all of the experts. 67 experts.
They didn't understand that it wasn't just about energy. It's about all these other things that President Trump is doing to cut costs.
Let's go to the highest economic advisor during American dark years, during the rise and the control of this country by the Fourth Reich. Here are some of the economic experts for the Fourth Reich.
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds.
Now, I don't normally say, Squirrel, we're lucky it's only this bad. But the reality is, it's only this bad because we pretended that these imbeciles that have destroyed our great cities, from sea to shining sea, that these imbeciles were anything other than what they are. They're just thieves. That's it. They create the policies, they borrow the money, and they steal the money. That is the modus operandi that has led to this position where we pretend their so-called entitlements and the kids and the old people, poppycock. They steal the money.
89.86% of their $87.9 million in revenue comes from one service, from one code. The number is extremely, extremely high. Let's see what happens.
One scoundrel, one temporary protected status alien stole $90 million out of one address. And the cities that are being impugned and have to suffer the decent have decided to leave.
Forcing people to leave. So look at the stats in New York. This is the millionaire exodus, they're calling it. Back in 2010, number of millionaires living in this city, 12.7%. Look at 2022, and this is just a few years ago. I think that number is probably even lower now. Only 8.7% are millionaires in our city now. A lot of people left during COVID, but a lot of people are leaving now because this guy was elected, and he wants to tax people making $300,000 or more.
That's their only answer, rather than focus on the money that they steal, which is what I like to do. I like to focus on the theft. Now, there's a lot of distractions in place, but nonetheless, always celebrate. Thank God for Donald Trump and the lack of Fourth Reich Democrat morons in control of anything.
David, today's inflation report shows the first 1 month decline in 6 years.
Yeah,
what?
This is big news, right? 0.4% might not sound like a lot, but this hasn't happened since the pandemic that we've had a decline in monthly.
Everybody says the pandemic. Forget the pandemic. Since they stole the election and implanted an illegitimate dementia moron who was a crook and a thief for 5 decades prior to that. That's the case. That's what we suffered through. And the proof is finally irrefutable.
In 2020, if we're going to have the conversation, drop boxes invented out of thin air, nowhere in Georgia law. Mobile voting units moving through Fulton County to 80% Democrat.
This is important on many levels, Squirrel. Not just because it vindicates Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and everybody with an IQ over 60 who spotted that dimwit in diapers. But because what it really means, once it's completely reversed, all of the bills that imbecile signed, every single one of them, null and void, all of it.
Precincts, 81% Democrat precincts to be precise. Nowhere envisioned in Georgia law. 6.8 million absentee ballot request forms with a first-class stamp sent to every registered voter in the state of Georgia. Nowhere envisioned in Georgia law. If you count the same ballots 3 times, in theory, you should get numbers that match. But that didn't happen either. Let's talk about the recount that happened. 3,930 double-scanned ballots in Fulton County alone. Thousands of those have been confirmed by the state election board. Governor Kemp actually raised the concerns of the Moncla-Rossi report, and we now know that there were double-scanned ballots. But even after the ballots were double-scanned in Fulton County, did the numbers match on the second recount? Nope. They were still off by 850 ballots. Not one person here can answer the question of how that happened.
And it's every swing area. Every area that shut down on the 20th. And the reason this is important, you saw how the right answer turns the country's economy around on a dime. The success Donald Trump has had in this term and his first term. All the reversal of the money laundering scheme that the Democrat mafia pretends it's an ideology or a political party. These are policies crafted to be stolen. Debts you did not sign on to. This isn't redistribution of any wealth. This is the commitment to bankrupt our country in the backdoor nationalization as the goal, as it always has been. But celebrate, because we're only a year and a half in. And look at the success.
Big thing Americans obviously care about are gas prices, especially during the summertime. If we can pull up this AAA chart showing gas prices. Right now, they're down from what they were about a month ago, but they're still significantly higher than they were this time 1 year ago. Obviously, the war in Iran is throwing a wrench into this. As long as that conflict is going on, should Americans expect
we have put
these
together,
prices?
I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
That explains your entire career.
Affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back, basically 6-year low. And if we look at the CPI month over month on the core, also under expectations, comes in at goose egg, 0. 0 would be the smallest amount. It would equal Jan of 21. To find a smaller change or a more negative change or minus 1/10.
Now, all that money that was created while the illegitimate diaper-wearing dimwit pretended to be president, the illegitimate years, $1.8 trillion created for green energy. Did you ever look at just one sector? Forget about the windmills and the poppycock and the nonsense. What about the solar? You remember the scams of solar? The fraud? The people victimized? Where's all the money? And whatever happened to the LLC?
These transactions can start off with a phone call, a social media message, even a knock on the door. That's exactly what happened to 72-year-old Isabel Aguirre. I want to show you a look at his house. And my photographer and I, when we were driving into this neighborhood, we were able to spot this house pretty easily. It's the only one in the neighborhood with solar panels.
It's a ghetto. It's a ghetto that has $98,000 worth of solar panels on a $25,000 house. The guy happens to be a naturalized citizen who still doesn't speak English and somehow signed for a grant and a loan. And now that $25,000 house, you might as well flush it. It's got $98,000 worth of solar panels that need to be replaced now in 5 years. That's how it works.
Part 2 Investigates has done countless stories of Houstonians being ripped off by solar panel companies, from false promises of lower electric bills to being stuck in unaffordable contracts. Tonight, State Attorney General Ken Paxton says his office is cracking down. After we uncovered multiple cases of homeowners raising concerns about solar panel companies, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton now investigating several of those businesses.
KPRC2 News reporter Rawan Balogan shows us how one local veteran says he's still paying the price.
As part of this investigation, the Office of the Attorney General says they will look into whether these companies mischaracterize exactly how much customers could save.
No, I wouldn't go through this again.
For 85-year-old Don Midkiff, what started...
Notice how they capitalize on the elderly. Always the elderly. Telling you it's free. Put it on your house. I dare you. Every single policy that has been created under the last 5 Democrats, every single one of them, a fraud. And I've told you for a year, Squirrel, the interesting thing about Donald Trump, when you look at him, he's not the conventional free market Republican. He really is a culmination of a little bit of Reaganomics, but mostly what he is, he's a JFK Democrat. But most people forgot what JFK was. Why, he's dead. I didn't.
Communism is so often described as an ideology or a belief that exists somewhere other than in the United States. Let me ask you, sir, just how serious a threat to our national security are these communist subversive activities in the United States today?
Well, I think they're serious. I think it's a matter that we should continue to give great care and attention to. We should support the laws which the United States has passed in order to protect us from those who would destroy us from within. We should sustain the Department of Justice in its efforts and the FBI, and we should be continually alert. I think if the United States is maintaining a strong society here in the United States, I think that we can meet any internal threat. The major threat is external and will continue.
Not anymore, JFK, after they popped you. You know what his big crime was too, Squirrel, aside from getting rid of the American Gestapo CIA that he dreamt of that ended up killing him? He wanted to give workers their money back, just like Big Donnie. Oh, yeah. He wanted the worker to have the money and the sloth to be recognized for what they were, sloths. But now the rise of the Fourth Reich, and you're to pretend the Fourth Reich and CIA operatives that are now senators, somehow they're looking out for America's best interest, right? Lipless Slotkin, big fat girl with wide shoulders.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
Another confession by another Fourth Reich member. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Hey, it's Shaun Thompson. You know, one day it's market volatility. The next day it's conflict overseas. Price jumps, confidence drops, and suddenly retirement feels less certain. When the latest headline pushes costs higher and stokes inflation fears, it can have a ripple effect on your investments and your budget. But here's the thing. Retirement shouldn't depend on perfect timing or on the latest geopolitical noise. Tom Fortino and the Alpha Wealth Group help families right here in the Chicago area build a plan to create income you can't outlive, control taxes, minimize risk, protect your assets, and prepare an estate and legacy plan. It's their 5-pillar retirement planning. Ready to learn more? To get your complimentary retirement roadmap and a retirement analysis today, schedule a meeting with Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group by calling 630-864-6711. That number again, 630-864-6711, or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
AM 560, The Answer.
When you look at who makes up this so-called government, you understand why the last thing they want. First of all, there's not one Democrat, not one elected Democrat that is irritated at the trillions of dollars that have been stolen from the American taxpayer. Not one. How could they be? And then you start to understand why they attack Trump and the most efficient Department of Justice this country has ever had.
So I'm back in D.C., and the story that I'm following this week is the confirmation hearings of Todd Blanche to be our Attorney General. That's going to happen over in the Senate. The Senate gets to vote on that. The House doesn't. And Todd Blanche is really at the center of the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up.
Oh, is he? Is he not the president that had him at the White House 17 times? He's not there? Or the one who's financed by that big fat pig, Jello in a baggie, Reid Hoffman Obama? He's not there? It's this guy, right? And here we go, Squirrel, the dreaded Epstein. Which, by the way, whatever happened to Epstein under the Biden administration? Not a peep. The office tramp. Reid Hoffman financed that dimwit, too. Anybody ever asked that Jello in a baggie Reid? Hey, Reid! What are you doing texting him on the day he allegedly killed himself, Reid? Fatso. How many of these hookers were at your house? Saw you with your big flapjacks hanging out with your cleavage. Another Democrat man with hairy cleavage.
And I have been watching as officials in New Mexico have filed complaints with the DOJ, specifically around a site there called Zorro Ranch.
That's Tom Pritzker. You know Tom. Looks like his sister, a little skinnier than JB, also has flapjacks, hairy cleavage. Whatever happened to Tom? Anybody question Tom? Oh, Tom, what were you doing at Zorro? Were those hookers of age, or were they underage girls that you victimized? You know, Squirrel, that's the other thing. You're going to see the women come out now. Which women? The ones who were 25 and just downright hookers? Or the actual victims?
And Todd Blanche is essentially not facilitating the release of information related to Zorro Ranch.
Millions and millions of pages with Tom Pritzker on a couple of them. Anybody ask Tom anything? I love it because all they're trying to do is cover up the trillions that have been stolen between Obama and that moron Joe Biden, who's the president, the only president in the history of the country that holds the title of a sentence without one word.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa.
The only thing dumber than that stupid son of a pig is any idiot that voted for him. Rick in Des Plaines.
Shaun, you're killing me today. You're on fire.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, you had a word you kept using earlier. It reminded me of my late father. He used to love that word expert. He'd say the definition of an expert, An X is a has-been and a spurt is a drip under pressure.
Oh, I like that. It's very good. And it's also true how every one of these moron consultants to the Fourth Reich, every one of them, from Bernstein, who was the highest economic advisor to that dimwit moron, to Larry Summers, another Epstein frequent flyer. Whatever happened to Larry? Hey, Larry! You want to talk? Were the woman you banged, were they of-age hookers or were they underage victims? I can't keep it straight. 3 million pages. And they're going to use this to silence the most successful DOJ, who as of right now, it's in the thousands. I've done the math, Squirrel. I think it's 10,000. 10,000 scumbags. I mean, after all, in Chicago, you got 500 just 2 days ago? 500! Where's the rest of it? Where's all the success in the Democrat areas? They're the ones who cover up the election fraud, like the CIA operative Slotkin, now an elected senator, still without a lip. All of the frauds.
Breaking news right now. Epstein survivors just released one of the most powerful PSAs you need to see, the world needs to see, urging senators to vote no on Todd Blanche's confirmation. Watch this, spread this everywhere.
Really? The 4 girls that Bill Clinton raped, all were audited by the IRS, who was led by Hillary Clinton's classmate from 93 to 99. Did any of these girls get audited? How did that work? Or are these the of-age hookers that were willing participant for decades? They were late on the rent. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer. Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
Stuck in Illinois? Between the taxes, the politics, the weather, it's exhausting. But leaving isn't as simple as packing up and going. That's where leavingil.com comes in. We help you create a smart step-by-step plan so you don't make the wrong move at the wrong time. Start with our quick exit readiness assessment today. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com or call 224-800-6979.
You know, to me, this is not a show. I have to tell you, people say, "Oh, it's a show," and there's no bits or pre-orchestrated segments. Everything is about fighting for the country and fighting for what made us the youngest and the richest with the highest quality of life. Property rights of the individual. The only country built on the citizen, not a government. And for decades, it's been bastardized. I love when we get together. And I also love when somebody tells me, that show, it's a little spicy for me. Good. Then don't come. This is about us, the people that make the economy work, the people that make the country go around, the people who have always followed the rules and expect nothing less. This is for us. That's what Shaun Fest is. It's a family get-together for us. We're closing out summer, happening on August 28th, and we have to know how many are coming. It's free. You don't have to pay anything, but you do have to register so that we know how much food they have available for you to purchase. There will be food and there will be drinks there. We're going to have at least one band. I think we have another guy singing the national anthem. And all of the guests will be live. Squirrel Hands, Honey Bunny, live. You're going to get to see everything right up front and close. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have advertisers there, but moreover, we're going to have the guys we fly in. E.J. Antoni's coming in. I'm thinking about Scott, the cow guy, Shality, along with the advertisers that make this all possible from Virago, leavingi-l.com, State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto, Unique Wooden Flags, Class A Insurance owned by Tommy and TJ Iquinta, and so much more. So just, if you can, go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest, SHAUN. There's no cost. Just come. But if you're going to come, it's like the border. You got to know who you are. Come on, register, and I'll see you there. When we get back at them, you're going to be first. 312-642-5600 if you care to participate after Mike Scott and the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Sunny and sweltering today with a high near 97. One person is dead after a drowning in north suburban Fox Lake. Fire officials say a group of friends were boating and decided to go swimming when one of the individuals sank beneath the water. Crews searched and found the missing swimmer, pronounced dead at the scene, and there is an investigation underway. There is trouble today for the leading Democrat candidate for governor in Wisconsin. Here's Fox's Jeff Manasso.
Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, who's running in the state's upcoming Democrat primary for governor, admitting that her campaign finance report was inflated after reviews found donations double counted with some expenses not included and not enough cash on hand for planned TV ad buys.
The U.S. has begun a third consecutive night of strikes against Iran. Fox's Mike Tobin reports Iran has also been making death threats against President Trump. The news, a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Subscribe free at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Your next news update is at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a look at the roads with Jill Urchak.
Good afternoon. On the outbound Edens, no reported delays. The Kennedy, 38 minutes. Janeburn Interchange out to the airport. You will see tie-ups in the Express, Fullerton to Montrose. On the Eisenhower, 1 hour. Post Office out to 390. And the Stevenson slowing down outbound at 48 minutes. And that slows especially into the Dan Ryan. The express lanes in the Dan Ryan out are tight 31st to Marquette. Locals checking in at 30 minutes, and roadwork delays outbound Bishop Ford 115th to Sibley. Watch out for that crash on the Tri-State northbound. 3 left lanes now blocked at Cermak. You will be solid from the Hinsdale Oasis. Delays either way on the Tri-State as well as DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Jane Addams eastbound at Bussy, a stall in the right lane west looks good. The Reagan is fine. No delays to report along 355 and eastbound 80 is jammed Kedzie to the Tri-State. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 75. Tomorrow, expect mostly sunny skies and very hot weather with a high of 97. Tomorrow night will be mainly clear, warm, and humid with a low of 76. Thursday will be hot with a mix of sun and clouds, along with widely separated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 94. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. When people call us, they're often dealing with something overwhelming. An inherited home full of belongings, parent needing senior living, managing an estate while juggling everything else in life. Here's what our sellers have to say after working with us. The very thought of hiring an agent, a cleanup crew, and dealing with months of uncertainty was overwhelming. But Jeff's team gave me permission to just leave it all. I took what mattered and they handled everything else. Another seller wrote, even my Medicaid specialist said Jeff Buys Your House is the name to trust. They gave me a fair price without the traditional real estate headache. And this one, they handled every hiccup. Title issues, paperwork, estate complications. I finally felt relieved. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led team has earned hundreds of 5-star reviews for its professionalism, compassion, and seamless service. No repairs and no cleanout. Take your memories with you and we'll take care of the rest. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
Now that summer is here, it's time for some summer home maintenance.
That's cold!
Hot water issues? Call Center Guard Plumbing. Right now, get a new 40-gallon atmospheric vent water heater installed for just $1,295 standard installation, or a 50-gallon for $1,395 standard installation, with free haul away of your old tank. A proud sponsor of AM 560. You'll save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on tankless and atmospheric vent water heaters with Center Guard Plumbing. Plus, get 10% off any licensed plumbing contractor competitor's price. Center Guard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon, and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive summer special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Selling your firearms? Get top dollar from national collectors. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
We don't want to talk about it? No, we're not going to talk about record low inflation numbers. In fact, we're back now that that stupid moron and every rat Democrat are just able to destroy our once great cities.
Eggs. I'm getting to eggs. But you're right. Remember with eggs where I had my first news conference. 2 days went by and I had a news conference, right? Unlike Biden, 2 years go by, he still didn't have it. Remember? He'd walk off the stage. He's finished with his, sir, you finished with your speech. Now what? You finished what? And then he'd walk into a wall. What he did, what they, and it wasn't him, it was some really smart, radical left lunatics, what they did to our country.
The Fourth Reich. The Obama Fourth Reich and the leftover scourge and scum that had their run of the joint. You know, it's funny, when you look back and you pay attention to some of these imbeciles, and I mean imbeciles, from the dumbest areas, the most corrupt areas in America.
If you think you might commit sexual assault, always carry a whistle. When you find yourself about to commit sexual assault, blow the whistle until someone else stops you.
That stupid whore was named Cori Bush. Well, turns out Cori Bush and her unlucky husband, my God. You want to talk about a guy that can't find a dark enough room. Did you ever see Cori Bush? She's got rolls on her neck. You imagine the stank? Turns out he's in it for the money.
By now you've seen them. The political ads are relentless, and someone is paying for all of them.
The good news, political money usually leaves fingerprints, public records showing exactly which groups are trying to buy which candidate a seat.
Put some stank
The bad
on.
news, some money is designed to leave no trace.
Ugh.
Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, followed the trail in the race for Missouri's 1st District right up to the point where it disappears.
Yeah, Mike and Kelly, last week we showed you 2 political action committees, PACs, that Cori Bush controls, paying a salary to her and her husband. Today, she picked up a local union endorsement from SEIU, meant to punch back.
Really? You know the Purple People Eaters, also 90% with big fat rolls on their neck, smelling like Cori Bush's underwear drawer. And they're all in on the money laundering schemes together. These corrupt entities of the Fourth Reich.
Back at all those ads and union endorsements boosting Wesley Bell. She also got a few of our questions and didn't seem to care too much for them.
And I call myself a politivist.
She really does use that word a lot. A leadership path.
Squirrel, do me a favor. Look up politivist. I think I want to get shirts made. I'm a politivist. What does that mean? Probably could park in a handicap spot.
An action pack. And now, Politivist Power Inc.,
bastard.
which Bush called in her own fundraising emails a 501c4, a nonprofit, not political. Except the record...
No, it's not political at all.
If you think you might commit sexual assault, always carry a whistle. When you find yourself about to commit sexual assault, blow the whistle until someone else stops you.
Did anybody give Bill Clinton one? Raped 4 women. Scoundrels. Adam, Lake Bluff.
Hey, hi, Shaun. Thanks for having me, and I'm going to be seeing you on the 28th.
You better.
What?
Monkeying around, though.
Yeah, of course. I'm taking a day off. Shaun, what is going on? Buttigieg, Spamberger, all these people, Anderson Cooper, CIA, NSA.
Tucker Carlson, his father.
Up until about 10 years ago, I didn't even tell people what I did because you just don't do that. You just say, yeah, I work for the government and this and that. But it's ridiculous.
Adam, you remember 30 years ago? You could always tell the guy from out of town in Melrose Park. He was the guy that looked at the guy next to him and said, "What do you do for a living?" And then he got punched in the face. This is a new era now, where you're proud to be a scumbag and a scallywag and a fraud. Thank you very much, Adam. It's very aggravating. It's all so aggravating because these schemes have been set up to be stolen, set up to be robbed. That's all it is. It's really not that complex as far as I can see. Like, take these schools, aside from the sick bastards who pretend to be teachers and administrators who are caught with child porn. By the way, I forgot to play that clip, honey buddy. Remember the bust out in Illinois? What do you have, $40,000 worth of porn on his credit card? Yuck.
What's going on with these schools being stolen from? California is among the worst offenders. The 2 California school officials who got caught stealing nearly $20 million from their schools to bankroll lavish lifestyles. Let's bring in political commentator Deborah Lea. Deborah, it's great to see you. This one case about this former fiscal services director, Jorge Contreras, and it was a really tiny Magnolia school district in Orange County, California. Deborah, he embezzled nearly $17 million, bought a luxury car, a BMW, a luxury home, 57 designer bags, jewelry, designer clothes. This is
$17 million out of this little tiny town in their operating budget. Makes you think about Chicago.
Good morning. Cook County property tax bills did not go out on time this summer, and that starts a chain reaction. A delay in collecting money causes a delay in doling out revenue, which causes some entities to bridge that funding gap. Chicago Public Schools is forced to fill their cash hole with a loan, which comes with borrowing.
Did you say cash hole? That sounds vulgar, doesn't it, Squirrel?
Costs and expenses. The Chicago Teachers Union says the unprecedented delays by the county over this last year has created needless additional burden that robs students of libraries, sports programs, and special education services.
It's going to be great. They just need more money, more money, more money. I wonder if they have the same problem as this Lake Zurich guy.
Another school is grappling with an explicit AI-generated photo scandal. Students at Lake Zurich High School in the northwest suburbs under investigation by police and their school. The district sending a statement saying that some students used photos of their classmates and, quote, a misuse of artificial intelligence to generate explicit pornographic images.
I wonder if that's going to be this guy's excuse who stole the money to pay for the child porn.
A teacher at a suburban high school charged with having child pornography. Investigators say they found the material in the possession of Thomas Neal after he was selected for secondary screening while flying to...
Didn't he win Teacher of the Year, that guy? Terry, Chicago.
Hey, Shaun, 80 years ago, the St. Valentine's Day massacre, I think 7 or 8 people were deceased. But Al Capone had an alibi. He was talking to the interview with a state's attorney in Florida, but they still went after the guy for taxes. Every week we have a St. Valentine's Day massacre. Can't we go after Pritzker for his taxes?
No, they don't pay taxes. Those are the gods among us. You know, I'm more curious about the foot soldiers to the Fourth Reich, these imbeciles who steal our money in the name of daycare, in the name of child care, in the name of adult daycare. All the illegal aliens and temporary protected aliens who have stolen, soft estimates, $1 trillion in the last 7 years. That's kind of interesting to me. Thank you very much for the call. Well, they're not really the ones that came up with it. You don't think that, do you, Squirrel? Congress did. All the morons like Cory Bush. They craft the policy to be stolen. Now, the skim in Chicago was 30%, right? It used to be the old kickback to the short in the pants mafia. It's probably the same here. After all, that was what Obama exported. You could trace all the growth in debt right down to Barack Obama. Likes a big-footed broad. Likes a woman with a big foot, big broad shoulders. 312-642-5600.
It's a man, baby.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer. Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago immune support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. Virago even protects your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Do yourself and your spouse a favor. Order a bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
AM 560. The Answer.
Nice pull, Squirrel. Stop trying to cheer me up with your fantastic selection. Corey and Woodlawn, you handsome son of a gun.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Shaun. I'm coming to
I got a bone to pick with you. You remind me when you're done. I'm picking a bone with you, kid. Go ahead.
So my biggest problem is that this stuff is out in the open. I mean, they're giving the money to their non-for-profit plans. They're jumping on Facebook and Twitter claiming that they're entrepreneurs. and then they're paying the Democratic Party back. This is getting out of control. How do we stop this madness?
And here you are trying to make money honestly. What the hell's wrong with you? All you needed was an office, a phony office. Doesn't have to be real. You could have a boat named Butt Naked, like that other moron from your neighborhood who had the methamphetamine clinic. Did you see how long he got away with it? And it was a fluke.
Yeah, he got away for a while.
It was a fluke that they got caught. And this is why I told you 5 years, maybe 6. What are you, nuts? You can't beat it back where the people are corrupt. You can only beat it back where the people are not. And there the government is not. When you have these legacy decades and decades, Chicago is a punchline. And I've got clips on the board where nationally it's a punchline. So you can't put your money to work there if you're honest. You can only profit from the corrupt nature of the way it exists as it is. And then my bone to pick with you. First of all, you better, I don't want to hear no excuses, the 28th. You coming?
Oh, yeah. Me and my son will be there.
All right, good. And then you could you do me a favor and stop kissing the nerd's ass? I heard you. This is the best radio show I know, right? Get the hell out of here. This show's boring.
Hey, Shaun,
Thank you.
You got the second best, Shaun.
All right, I'll take it. It's fine. George in Naperville.
Shaun, you have an incredible ability to present good news in a frightening way.
Yeah, well, here's the good news. Everywhere.
You scare the hell out of us.
Good. Everywhere Democrats aren't, it's great. Where they are, get used to it. Get used to it. And it doesn't just have to be Chicago, although you really have perfected it. But when you look at legacy industries that made the state, and now they're moving.
Backed by the iconic Hollywood sign, California's Attorney General delivered the opening lines of a new courtroom drama Monday as he announced a lawsuit seeking to block the merger of Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers Discovery.
It would result in higher prices, lower content quality, and fewer movies and TV shows.
Are you in the movie business now? Or are you just a crooked rat Fourth Reich member? You and your wife. His wife, this is this AG for California running for governor. And his wife is the one who crafted the No Nick Shirley Act, where they want to keep their stealing and the billions, $200 billion that they stole since any Tuesome Newsom was elected. They want to keep that under wraps. Well, it turns out Paramount said, maybe we'll just move.
Amid Paramount's bid to take over Warner Brothers and the legal pushback from California's Attorney General, CEO David Ellison is said to be considering a move out of state, ending Paramount's Los Angeles legacy.
That's almost as big as the businesses that left Illinois or the ones that left New York. This is the reality of when the Fourth Reich takes over. You have an option. You have a window. And that window is leave while you can. Now, granted, the tolls have gone up in Illinois. But the other option is recognize it and reject everybody, and I mean everybody, especially the Republicans who tell you to compromise with it. That's what you've heard, and I heard it all my life when I used to live there, and you hear it to this day. Well, you got to compromise a little bit. You don't compromise with it. And the people who partake in it are the ones of the names that are always frozen out of competition. And then all of a sudden they appear, and you're going to run for governor. Well, you didn't run when other Illinoisans were running. That's why, as far as I'm concerned, secession of counties, the only answer. The good news is there are 40 of them in Illinois that are already moving forward. Make it 41, make it 50. There are 102, right, Squirrel? 102 counties is when I need the egghead prof. 102 counties. So get 60 of them, then see if they could keep a lid on it. Now, you're combating a money laundering scheme that funds all of these scumbag morons in Illinois. By the way, there's a great one. Here's one in Illinois State. Did you ever see this broad? Guzman? Let me tell you, I thought I saw her on a Buffalo Bill poster, and she wasn't Buffalo Bill. She was behind them.
We're not taking away parental involvement whatsoever. We're, again, just asserting the right that should a child need access to birth control and to access, that is available to them.
So this big sow, which I want to meet the guy that wants to knock you up, honey. That's a desperado or a convict doing life. This big sow wants your kids to have access to abortions without telling the parents. That's Illinois, Democrat, one and all. This is what you have to understand.
Hi, I'm Carol Ammons. Over the past 15 years, I've been a strong advocate for the core democratic values that we share.
Carol Ammons is an Illinois state rep. Her husband, Aaron, is the Champaign County clerk.
Hello, I'm Aaron Ammons.
Hello.
I'm a brother, husband, father.
You know, it touches my heart so much when not just one person in the family dedicates their lives to public service, but the whole family.
My wife Carol and I have spent years serving our community.
How selfless can you be? It's so beautiful. And Carol is
the first African American from Central Illinois since 1818 stand on this stage tonight and endorse Senator Bernie Sanders.
There hasn't been a single black person in Central Illinois since 1818? Wow, what are the odds? Anyway.
See, that's a national news story. And Illinois and the Illinois Fourth Reich Democrats are a national fracking punchline, as her and her illiterate moron husband were caught stealing again, or as it's known in Illinois, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 days. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Gary Carr, retired homicide detective and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. For 10 years, we've helped more than 20,000 students become safe, responsible, and confident firearm owners. If you're looking to get your Illinois Concealed Carry license or need to renew, now is the perfect time. Our law enforcement-led training gives you the knowledge and skills to protect yourself and your family. Our 16-hour concealed carry class includes live fire training, one-on-one coaching, Illinois and Florida certification for expanded reciprocity, range qualification, and a full-color textbook. We provide the firearm, ammunition, eye and ear protection, targets, and range access. Need a renewal? Our 3-hour renewal class keeps you legal and current on Illinois firearm laws. Thousands of students have trusted us for professional instruction, flexible scheduling, and exceptional value. Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian for classes, less lethal options, and self-defense legal plans. Visit us at concealedcarrychicago.com to reserve your seat today. That's concealedcarrychicago.com, concealedcarrychicago.com.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's Joint Arthritis Treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate, it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
Tired of posting to your business's social media, but only your employees notice it? Meanwhile, your competitors are winning over customers by racking up thousands of views. At Myers Media, we create social media content that gets engagement and drives sales. Here's how it works. If you're in Chicagoland, we sit down with you and come up with all the ideas. Then we handle the filming, editing, and posting. You don't lift a finger. Out of town? No problem. We build the scripts, coach you through filming it on your phone. Then we take care of the editing and posting. Myers Media also does bigger projects like website videos, event filming, and paid ads that make people pick up the phone and call you. You know what makes your business special, and we know how to turn that into content that gets noticed and gets you customers. Schedule a consultation with us today at myersmedia.net. Again, that's Myers, M-E-Y-E-R-S, media.net. At Myers Media, we create social media content that gets engagement and drives sales. myersmedia.net. Let's get you noticed.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
My next guest is a nationally syndicated radio and television host on over 500 stations across the country. Brings over 35 years of experience helping individuals invest with biblical integrity. Mark Manella will join us to discuss the economy, the beauty of Americanism, and why I can't get a read on the Palestinian futures market. That'll all happen after news with Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Sunny and sweltering today, a danger of dehydration with a high of 97. Chicago Public Schools announcing late Monday it has laid off 162 employees. The reductions are said to generate about $18 million in savings. CPS has a $732 million budget deficit. An Illinois legislator is releasing the identity of a woman found dead in a garbage can on Chicago's southwest side. State Senator Lakeisha Collins releasing a statement on social media that the deceased is Zenobia Weatherspoon, found Saturday night. Supreme Court Justices Elena Kagan and Amy Coney Barrett appeared before a House Appropriations Subcommittee today for a hearing on the court's budget. Barrett claims the threats she's faced while on the court have had an impact on her family.
Maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one.
Officials say the number of threats against judges across the country has been growing. Baseball's All-Star Game tonight. The news service of the AM 560 store. Go to 560theanswer.com/store. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages rose as inflation cools. The consumer price index for June tumbled 0.4%, its steepest drop since April of 2020. As a result, July rate hike bets fall after a softer June CPI reading. The Dow managed to eke out a gain despite being dragged down by IBM's record sell-off. Its stock tumbled over 25% on disappointing earnings and revenue forecasts. Although shares of Goldman Sachs rose 9% for an all-time high after delivering a profit beat, and JP Morgan stock rose 2.5% and hitting an all-time high on strong financial results. Oil gushed to a 4-week high as U.S.-Iran attacks stoke supply fears, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling at over $79 a barrel. The Dow rising 10 points, the Nasdaq higher by 234, S&P 500 up 28. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Edens going out, there are no reported problems. The Kennedy to get out to O'Hare, 38 minutes. Outbound Eisenhower, that's an hour and 5. Post Office to 390. Stevenson going out, 55 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Dan Ryan is a half hour to 95th. The Express are jammed 31st to Marquette. Outbound Ford construction delays 115th to the Steel Bridge. And northbound Tri-State, the accident at Cermak is cleared. It starts backing up at Stevenson. Delays either way on the Tri-State as well as to Saba Lakeshore Drive, and a car fire westbound Reagan at Route 53. 2 left lanes are closed. This report is a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special members-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 75. On Wednesday, expect mostly sunny skies and very hot weather with a high of 97. Wednesday night will be mainly clear, warm, and humid with a low of 76. Thursday will be hot with a mix of sun and clouds along with widely separated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The high temperature for Thursday will reach 94. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all guns. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and
My next guest is the host of Financial Issues, a nationally syndicated radio and TV program that has broadcast over 500 stations from sea to shining sea. Brings over 35 years of experience helping individuals invest with biblical integrity. He founded one of the first investment advisory businesses dedicated to biblically responsible investing principles. Mark Manella, how are you, Mark?
I'm doing good, Shaun. Thanks for having me on today. What a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a very important issue, and I'll tell you what I mean by this. Being from Illinois, right, you could have, as you could hear from our T's, I'm a crude son of a gun, Mark. I can't help it. But you understand, your last name's Manella. You get used to it. So, but the reality is that doesn't mean I want money that I work for, that I pay taxes, to go to something I'm diametrically opposed to, like the murder of babies. And in Illinois, that is their number one mission, to kill babies. So I can't live there anymore. I can't buy anything anymore because that's the definition of tyranny. You take my money and you use it against what I have deemed evil. And if you look throughout these Fourth Reich areas, see, I don't call them Democrats, Mark. To me, they're the Fourth Reich. They live like Nazis. They talk like Nazis. They implement fascism. They shut us down during COVID. They steal elections. So to me, they're the Fourth Reich. And the idea that they are held with no standards and can do anything with our money, I think it's important that you and your company give people of conscience a way to make money that's aligned with their values. That's how important I think your show is. So it's my honor to have you on.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I am honored.
Well, and you look at what Donald Trump, an unlikely deliverer of righteousness in American economics, in capitalism, and moreover, somebody who has done more to slay the evils of baby murder in our country than any president I've been through, and I'm in my 50s. I'm sure you feel so. And what he's done economically, why is no one celebrating? Inflation apparently is gone. He brought back $19 trillion in commitments to invest in our country. And what's going on with the manufacturing?
Well, the manufacturing actually is increasing. We've seen that from a lot of the numbers, but mostly through the purchase managers, we saw that they're actually increasing. We've had the highest increase in 4 years. Think about that. In 4 years, we've had the highest increase in manufacturing. Now, a lot of people wonder, what does that mean? Just because people are manufacturing more. Well, they manufacture more when people are buying more. People are buying more when the economy is strong enough to be buying. It shows that there's confidence and resilience in the individual family right now. Yeah, there's areas we're hurting. There's things that still, inflation during the Biden years went through the ceiling and raised the cost of everything so high. And that doesn't come down because inflation slows down. It still means it's up high there. But here's something else that's really cool, Shaun. I don't know if you know about this, but I did a little study on what the price of things were back at the peak during the Biden years and where they are now. And I want to give you some numbers here that's really interesting. What do you think the number one common item is that decrease? And it's decreased 64% since the peak of the Biden years.
Since the peak of AIDS?
Yeah. Lumber is down 64%. Televisions are down 38%. Cars and trucks, rentals are down 34%.
I thought you were going to say business. I thought you were going to, during the Biden years, what shocked me was the massive money pumped in to create industries that couldn't exist in capitalism. The eco-Nazi agenda.
Create anything.
Right. So I'm assuming all of those scams.
Ugliness.
Right, and all of those scams came down. I'm assuming nobody's buying solar panels. Nobody's investing in windmills. Nobody's moving forward with that bulldog nonsense we were sold and forced to believe was an industry. That's what I would have guessed, but go ahead.
You're absolutely right. But what I'm trying to say is just in the 18 months, how many months, I guess it's about 18 months that Trump has been in, we've seen all these prices drop. We've seen them deflate in price, a lot of this stuff. So actually the average family now is paying 27% less for their eggs than they did during the Biden years. They're paying less for cars, for furniture, for TVs, for all these things, and manufacturers can't keep up with it right now. And then like you said at the beginning of the show here, we see that how many trillion of dollars? I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars?
Well, Joe Biden did something that no president has ever done or the country could not do for 236 years. In 4 years, he single-handedly added $9 trillion to the national debt. His predecessor, Barack Obama, from our neighborhood, who couldn't make his car payment, that bust out that he was, he added $9 trillion in 8 years. So when you look at just these two idiots and the kind of money that they put in policies that are on autopilot, it's a miracle there is any recovery with the trajectory and the doom loop of bankruptcy they put us on, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. And that's what's so important about these kind of numbers we're talking about here. Because these, along with, I don't know if you saw today, the CPI came down. It's less than last month. And
I see everything, Mark. Come on, I don't sleep. I'm like you, like an owl all night looking at stuff.
All right, you put all these things together and you see what this administration has done, and they set the foundations to start bringing inflation down, to start bringing even the deficit down that we have. They've laid the foundations now that they can start bringing inflation down so that we can live better, and at the same time they'll change the monetary policy so it doesn't cause our companies to get in a bind by having too high of interest rates and all this craziness. What we're going to see, I truly believe, I have a hope here. Now, I know my hope is in Christ, but I also have a hope in this administration being led by Christ that we're going to actually see a dent in the deficit by the end of the year, which would be incredible because we're headed for a cliff that we can't handle if we don't.
Well, you and I both know what he needs to do is thread a needle. I mean, it really has to all line up to save us from the intended bankruptcy of our nation implemented by the Fourth Reich. Really starting with Barack Obama. When you look at 18 years, $30 trillion, there's nothing other than intentional destruction of our economy. And it's funny to watch the conversation happen, but I'm gonna tell you what I noticed, and you tell me if I'm right. What I've noticed is that for decades, all of our life, these scoundrels have been able to hide among us. And when I say scoundrels, I mean the mafia politics that creates the policy intended to be stolen in the name of a kickback scheme like in Chicago. And they've been able to hide because so many of us didn't take the warnings that people would say. They didn't take the lesson of what would happen if Atlas really shrugged, as Ayn Rand wrote about. What she was right about was that sooner or later what makes people succeed in America is the idea that law is about property rights. When that's infringed and bastardized, and when government becomes the enemy and uses law as the spear, the capitalist will destroy his own success and move out of the area and go to an area he's welcomed. And when you talk about our numbers and the growth, it's only in 11 states. 11 states make up 72% of all of the GDP and 100% of this growth. That's beautiful because now they cannot hide among us. New York, New Jersey, California, Paramount's going to leave Did you see that today? Paramount. That's what built California. You take out that movie industry, what do they got? Nothing. I love what's happening.
Well,
now they cannot hide among us.
Beaches and great weather, but
yeah, and some skinny
that's
women.
All they have left is beautiful beaches and great weather. But yeah, you're nailing it. Absolutely true. And what's happening is we have an administration who isn't pulling any punches. They're going after the graft. They're going after the greed. They're going after the abuse of the taxpayer dollars. Did you know? Well, you do know this. We could recover $1 trillion just getting rid of the fraud and abuse right now in our government. Just the fraud and abuse. That alone is what we're paying in interest on our debt right now. Now imagine if we got rid of the fraud and abuse, and then got rid of all the agencies that aren't doing anything for the American people. At least are doing anything worldwide for the American people, because sometimes the things we do overseas are good for us as well, and that's good all around. But we could get another $1 trillion off the board there, and we'd be paying down our debt in less than 2 years.
Well, of course, the other thing too, Mark, that you have to look at. I'm amazed at this. I shocked myself looking this up. When you factor in what the scams cost us, the scams and the liability of this idea that we are in fact able to pretend we're not socialist when so many of these policies, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, you factor in SNAP, 90% of it in Illinois is stolen and frauded by crackheads and degenerates. You factor in rent, Section 8 housing, you are at $3.5 trillion. $3.5 trillion in entitlements. Now you put on $1 trillion of public education, and you bring that number with the green energy movement of $1.6 trillion. You're at about 60% of the budget, 70% of the budget that's on autopilot with massive, massive increases built in. And yet not one Democrat, not one elected Democrat wants to know where that money has gone and where it's been stolen. So to me, you can correct it by attacking what already has been abused and already is used as an excuse to extort capitalists and people who succeed in the country. If we could reestablish and remove just the detriment that Obamacare did to our healthcare system, look at what that moron from Chicago did. We were paying, you and I were paying $570 a month for insurance for our family and mad about it. We were mad about it.
And
now it's $5,000.
$2,000 a month for me and my wife.
Mine is more. Mine is more because the kids are younger and the rest of it. I mean, it's insane when you look at 91% of Obamacare, 91% of it all subsidized. If you can just remove that, you can eliminate $6 trillion, $7 trillion, who knows? Because they lied about what it was and they lie about how it's stolen, which is why they fear any kind of audit. That's what we need to demand.
And you know whose fault this is? It's just not the Democrats, though. It's Congress in general. It's lazy congressmen who will not pass laws that have audits built into them, that have checks and balance built into it. You know why? Because they're all getting a little piece of it. And it's just crazy. It goes out, $10 million goes out, and then it goes to an NGO. That NGO sends it over to 20 different other NGOs. Those take take their part of it, and then it goes to a few more NGOs, and then some of it somehow comes back into somebody's pocket here, and there's nothing left over for the programs. I mean, it's just crazy. And then we have the fraud on these programs. You know, Shaun, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I believe you will. You're a tough guy. I know that. But I also believe you're a compassionate guy. And as an American, I believe being one of the greatest nations in the world, we should care for those who are in need, those who tried and failed, those who, safety nets. But we shouldn't give it to totally healthy people who could get out and get a job and work and pay for their housing, pay for their cars, pay for their telephones, pay for their food, pay for all these things. If we just took away all the healthy people out of all these benefits, we could reduce them down to less than a third of what we're paying on them right now.
Mark, you're a financial guy. This is not charity or any kind of real entitlement at the tip of a spear. And when you look at these neighborhoods, I have E.J. Antoni, who I know you know the name. And it's an amazing statistic when you look at Washington, D.C. A family of four that qualifies and takes advantage of all of the so-called welfare benefits and entitlements is the equivalent of you going to work and earning $122,000. So when you look at the way in which that entitlement system has become a weapon, a cudgel, and a cattle prod to get everybody in it, and you reverse back to the Chicago gangsters who hid under communism, Cloward and Piven, and you go back to their whole principle of overwhelming the welfare system to bankrupt the nation, to take over the idea that people had property rights. That's what we live through. Now, we can identify it, and some of the states have already pushed it off. This is the beauty of federalism. And I am telling you, Mark, when you look at the counties of this country, they are 90% of people like me and you. It's the 10% of corrupted where the body of this Fourth Reich exists. What I'm trying to do is figure out how to get people in those counties motivated enough to separate from them, because they are killing us. This cancer of corruption is killing us. And I could think of a couple ways to do it, but one of the things I think is you can never let go of an abuse. And I want to go back to when Joe Biden stole the election, nullify his presidency, and reverse every fracking law he signed because it's illegitimate as he was. What do you think?
I wish we could do that. I would love to see it happen. Wouldn't that be incredible?
Well, we can't give up. We can't give up. They don't give up.
We'd have a new day. We'd have a new nation here.
Could you imagine if you just reverse everything that moron did? All those laws, null and void, trillions and trillions of dollars, all the land that he sequestered so that we couldn't develop it. Another amazing stat. Our nation's less than 6% developed. What? Less than 6% developed.
I know.
Look
Isn't
at what
that
we've
incredible?
done. Look at what we've done. Look at, and all these countries we talk about and all this nonsense in foreign policy. Can you tell me where the Palestinian option market closed yesterday? Do you remember? They have nothing. We did everything. We did it all. They did nothing. I think we should have an austerity, a Trump austerity. That's what he's really implementing. I'm wondering if you think of it.
I'll tell you, we have, this year is so important. I call it citizenship stewardship. We need to be stewarding this nation. This year, the election, the midterm election is so important. We have to get into the Congress, those people who are going to back the Trump administration and actually pass bills, because everything Trump is doing, if he's just doing with his signature, it's gone in a couple of years. If somebody else gets in, if the enemy gets in. So we have to make sure that these things are codified in law. That's Congress. I think Trump is doing an incredible job. I mean, when you look at the resilience of our economy during war, during the political savagery that's going on, everything that's happening, he's doing an incredible job. Now we got to get Congress to do their job. We need to vote in strong conservative people right now, not next year, but this year, not 4 years from now, right now, to turn this all around.
So I know what you go through to get where you are. I understand the effort you put in and the knowledge you just continue to seek out and digest. And when you look at the fact of what we ignore and what we don't say, and when you think that there are 19 states suing the federal government to not validate their voter rolls, think about how preposterous that is.
That's possible, even.
It's like Enron.
That blows my mind. Every time I hear that, it just not only blows my mind, but I have to say, sometimes I get really angry about it. How could we allow these infiltrators, these traitors, to be in office,
exactly.
Mondani and all these other people that won't even pledge allegiance to the flag, that hate our country, that are trying to destroy it. How can people be so silly?
Because we don't identify it as a confession of fraud. And that's why, to me, Mark, these 19 states, and I'm from one of them, don't ever tell me there's an election. I don't want to hear it. It's similar to me than Saddam Hussein coming out and saying I won 99.9% of the election.
Yeah,
same fracking thing.
Exactly.
So this is the move I think that the good people in the country have to do. The good people in the country have to stop validating and giving any credibility to the states that have destroyed the quality of life. And I'm from one. And when I tell you that 80% of the Illinoisans, 80%, Mark, are decent people you'd love to have lunch with and dinner and could have this conversation, it's that 20% Fourth Reich Nazi crew. And those are the ones that are destroying everything. And we have to figure it out. And that's why I'm going to turn to you, because you have something I don't have. You have an intimate knowledge of Christianity. And I really do think that your business playing in, supporting companies that benefit, that participate, that is the answer moving forward. So where can everybody go and learn all about financial issues?
Yeah, come out to financialissues.org Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on East Coast time, on Eastern time. In the Midwest here, it would be from 8 to 9 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. And we're live, and we take phone calls for your finances, for economics, for political, anything to do with stewardship. And that includes stewarding this nation in a way that honors God. When we do that, that's when the fraud goes away. So financialissues.org.
How about that they make us call these people who kill babies doctors? Did you ever think, in all you knew growing up, all you learned, right, Hippocratic oath, we've got an entire industry that pretends to be medical professionals that kill our babies. That, to me, is outrageous. I'm telling you, Mark, that's why I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you to pray for me, for sooner or later I pull a Roman soldier thing on this whole nonsense.
You're on my prayer list, Shaun.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, if you follow the money, if you want to know why this country is going down the tubes, just follow the money. When you follow the money, it goes to the top, and it goes to Wall Street, and it goes to those companies. They decide what the message is going to be. They decide what movies are going to get out and who's going to lecture us about LGBTQ and everything else. They decide what commercials will be aired on what programs and what programs will get played. And when you realize that, and you realize that you go out and you buy a stock, and that stock, they're giving millions of dollars to back all sorts of ugliness, including abortion, pornography, sexual immorality, use and abuse of our families and our faith. When you partner with them by buying their stock, you become a partner. You actually are endorsing them and causing them to be more powerful. When you start investing with biblical integrity, only investing in those things that are in line with God's tenets of love, you actually see a change in our society.
Mark Manella.
The ripples of godly things go through it.
It has been such a no. It's been, I'm up against the clock. You know how it goes, and it's been such an absolute pleasure. Really, I hope we get the chance to meet in person. I really, really have enjoyed it. In the meantime, I'm going to go to financialissues.org. Keep an eye on you. All right, we got to get you stretched out now. An hour. Come on, don't work like a Chicago Democrat. We do 3 hours, 4 hours. Come on, Mark, you could do it. All right.
Thanks, Shaun. God bless you, and thank you for having me.
You too, anytime. Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny, new, gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix, and it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
There are some fantastic insurance companies out there. There really are. State Farm is a great company. I had Nationwide when my car was bobbing like an apple in Ian. Great company. 5 days, cut me to check. Didn't raise my premiums. It was a national disaster. American Family. Great company. And often when you talk to these companies and you talk to an agent from these companies, they can only give you a quote from those companies. You don't have to do that anymore. You could check yourself by having Tommy and TJ Iaquinta. See, that's what they do. They check all the companies for all your insurance needs. And when you call, they answer the phone. Father and son team, Class A insurance, right there on the south side. If you want to quote instantaneously, go to 560insurance.com. 560insurance.com. Very easy. A quote in minutes, and take a look at some of the options you may be unaware of. Not slandering companies. There are companies that are great in very specific things. For property, residential, property, commercial, cars, motorcycles, boats. Tommy and TJ can get you a quote for all of those. Tommy and TJ Iaquinta, Class A insurance. They built it right there in Chicagoland. Give them a shot at 560insurance.com. That's 560insurance.com to get a free quote in minutes. When we get back, 312-642-5600. I'll take your calls and comments after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, we see clear skies, very warm, with a low of 76 tonight. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are still mourning the loss of South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 71. Speaking today before a House Appropriations Subcommittee, Justice Elena Kagan credits Graham for helping her with the confirmation process.
I want to express my gratitude towards him, not only for his support, but for approaching the confirmation process with the kind of seriousness that he did and the kind of respect he did.
The Illinois Tollway is expected to propose the largest rate hike in state history.
It's not helping with the gas prices and with the tolls. It's hard being an owner right now.
The Illinois Tollway system was pledged to be toll-free by the mid-1970s. The news, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone when you download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Your next news update is at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a look at the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchak.
On the Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, a 38-minute trip in the outbound Edens still looks good. If you're heading outbound on the Eisenhower, that is a 1-hour trip. Post office out to 390 inbound is an hour and 10. Stevenson, DuSable Lakeshore Drive to the Veterans Memorial Tollway, 45 minutes. Dan Ryan going out, 25. The express lanes inbound are solid. Pershing to the Stevenson outbound express, heavy Pershing to Marquette. DuSable Lakeshore Drive continues to be heavy either way, as well as the Tri-State. The Reagan traffic is solid westbound Highland to 53. Car fire's just been cleared, and the other tollways look good. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 75. Tomorrow, expect mostly sunny skies and very hot weather with a high of 97. Tomorrow night will be mainly clear, warm, and humid with a low of 76. Thursday will be hot with a mix of sun and clouds, along with widely separated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 94. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Time now for a check of the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Regular no lead in DuPage County is $3.69 a gallon at the SNK on Route 83 in Bensonville. $3.75 a gallon at the Citgo on St. Charles Road in Lombard. And $3.79 a gallon at the Casey's on Arlington Heights Road in Itasca.
If you see a low gas price, text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location. And listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 to hear the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
The law group you know and trust, Naumann & Associates, is expanding into commercial litigation. When disputes can't be resolved, get the strategic guidance from a litigation lawyer who will fight for your rights. Attorney Richard Cannon brings both strong courtroom and dispute settlement skills. We believe most cases can be resolved without costly courtroom battles, but we prepare as if a trial is possible. When your company needs to stand its ground, contact Naumann & Associates in Elk Grove Village. For a consultation, visit nalawgroup.com.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Are you 65 or older and dealing with chronic knee or shoulder pain? You're not alone. At the Joint Relief Institute, we've helped thousands find real relief without surgery. Our non-surgical, FDA-approved treatment uses hyaluronic gel that acts like a cushion between the bones in your knee. As we age, the cushion naturally wears down, causing painful grinding and popping. But our gel restores that cushion, allowing your knee to move smoothly again. Ready to stop the pain and get back to doing what you love? Call the Joint Relief Institute at 708-315-6800. Again, that's 708-315-6800.
Move better, live better with JRI.
Move better and live better with JRI. Contact the Joint Relief Institute today and get back to doing what you love. Call 708-315-6800 or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. Call 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Got a large collection? We'll make it fit in your wallet. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Think about all the federal so-called judges who are nothing more than Fourth Reich upper echelon posing as judges that you could eliminate once we finally have beyond the we already have beyond the shadow of a doubt the evidence. It just has to be prosecuted in the right fashion to eliminate the American Dark Ages, known as the Biden years. And then you look at this particular settlement, and this Obama judge, this is an Obama judge. I think, wasn't it the pencil neck geek, Andy Shaw's daughter? She was your rights world. She was sworn in under the dimwitted diapers, but she worked for Obama. And he was the better government, right? Probably why he never caught Obama, all the scum that he stole and all the money he laundered.
This settlement between Donald Trump and the U.S. government is now legally invalid. The agreement had granted the president immunity from tax audits and set up a fund to compensate Trump allies who believed they'd been unjustly persecuted. On Monday, federal judge Kathleen Williams argued the initial lawsuit was filed in bad faith and the result was collusive. She found the two parties did not have opposing interests. Trump, the plaintiff, was president and therefore in charge of the Internal Revenue Service, the defendant.
They leaked his information. Now, sue him for the $10 billion. Sue them all. Don't settle for a fracking nickel. Make them pay, Big Donnie. You do what you want with the money. That's the way it always should be. But it got me thinking, all those years that the Duchess of Chaffington and the coke fiend, rapist, Bill Clinton, operated and stole money, all in the name of a foundation. All fraud.
Hillary Clinton is being ordered to return $50 million of the money she received from foreign entities related to the Clinton Foundation during her time at the State Department.
So during her time at the State Department, foreign governments were bribing the Clinton Foundation. Bribing the Clinton Foundation to get what? just special dispensation or foreign policy money laundering schemes? And she just has to give back $50 million? When is this slob going to go to prison? It'll be like sending me to hedonism in the 80s. She'll love it there.
According to U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, quote, she used her position to divert taxpayer money to her personal funds. This is a blatant corruption and maximum abuse of power. Okay, here are the facts. During Clinton's State Department years, the foundation received tens of millions of dollars from overseas donors, including governments like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Norway. The contributions coincided with state approvals for arms deals or other diplomatic decisions.
Right out in broad daylight. And you know what else annoys me about this squirrel? Where was the IRS? Yo! Where are you guys? You're bothering waitresses. Who what? Don't pay you $500? Charge them 18% VIG. What's this inner thigh chafing rat ever going to pay any real costs?
Raising suspicions of quid pro quo. For example, a $1 million gift from Qatar in 2012 came at the same time as the Clintons' advocacy for U.S. policy shifts in the Middle East.
I didn't hear about this on Always Broadcast Crap ABC. Did you, Squirrel? How about Never Broadcast Content NBC? Did you hear of it? I didn't hear a thing.
The 2010 approval of a deal allowing a Russian state-owned company to acquire control of U.S. uranium assets coincided with another large donation. Foundation donors with stakes in the transaction contributed over $145 million, fueling claims that Clinton's role in the approval process was tainted by conflicts of interest.
And then what we lived through after they stole the election. What you saw when all we wanted was the evidence that now is readily available.
And that is a legitimate question. We know that ballot images were deleted. We know that test ballots were included in the recount process, and we have that confirmed. But I want to take just a minute and talk about what the Democrats did in response to legitimate questions over the 2020 election.
January 6th. That's what they did. The red herring, the coup d'etat, the fraud of January 6th. And you can always tell, Squirrel. They confess. They've got a bad little tell when they lie. They confess. Like Jamie Raskin, who looks dumber with hair than he did without.
Again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because...
What? You stupid son of a dog. There was no insurrection, and he's trying to get him on the insurrection clause that you can't have partaken in an insurrection then be elected. This fraud. There was no insurrection for two reasons. I wasn't there, being the first reason. And the only people that got shot and had guns were the Capitol Police, the same ones that let Nancy Pelosi sneak in 8 balls on a regular basis.
Obviously, they don't think it was an insurrection, and I believe, as I think you do, that they were heavily involved in that day. So why'd they go so all in?
Well, they had to. I've covered this in detail. In June 2020, all of the major DNC apparatchiks, including Donna Brazile, the former head of the DNC, and John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, who was...
You remember John Podesta, Squirrel? He's the one that was embroiled. By the way, his brother, a big slob of a human being, embroiled in all kinds of pedophilia allegations and scandals, and a big lobbyist. Ooh, yeah. Just like the creepy-looking Podesta John, who worked for Hillary Clinton during the whole time of the emails that we still have no answers to.
Meanwhile, a hacked memo is now exposing the relationship between the Clinton Foundation and the Clintons' personal business, if only to a degree. WikiLeaks released a memo written in 2011 by former aide to Bill Clinton, Douglas Band. It reveals that Band and other chief fundraisers would press charity donors to direct business opportunities, including paid speaking engagements to the former president. Nancy Cordes is in Tampa, Florida, where Hillary Clinton...
Now you're going to say statute of limitations? You mean like E. Jean Carroll? The one who another Obama judge said Trump has to pay that schizophrenic lunatic with a cat named Nipples.
You don't feel like a victim?
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're just going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Statute. The rules are there are no rules. That's how they want to play. That's how we'll play. And everybody attached to this fraud of J6, and I mean everybody, it's time to round them up and throw them in the hoosegow. I'm talking to you, Liz Cheney. You.
She would know. The 28-year veteran was on the team that evacuated Vice President Dick Cheney on 9/11, and she served on then Vice President Biden's protective detail. He named her director in mid-2022. Amid a swirl of controversy over the agency deleting nearly all of its text messages from January 6th.
Wow, huh, Squirrel? Very interesting. Now get Nick Nolte's mugshot, known as Liz Cheney. Throw her fat ass in jail next to Hillary. Of course, the guards won't be able to tell them apart. 312-642-5600.
What if everything you've been told about government, health care, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Shaun Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Shaun Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at ShaunThompsonShow.com/book.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
AM 560, The Answer.
You have to be tireless, Squirrel. You cannot let one abuse, one obvious fraud, you can't let them get away with it. Because when they do, they feel emboldened. And why wouldn't they? I mean, look at Hillary Clinton. Look at the Clintons in general. A scandal from the time that rapist pig was governor. And now they're going to use Epstein, who was at the White House 17 times when the Duchess of Chaffington and Humo were just upstairs exercising, all setting up the Clinton Foundation. Embroiled in scandal after scandal.
And so while none of this is illegal, it certainly flies in the face of what the former president, what Hillary Clinton have long argued, which was that there was this bright line between the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton family's personal finances, between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department. We're now seeing that line between the Clinton Foundation and former President Bill Clinton's finances was pretty blurry.
And we've seen, too, that this worry, there was worry about this long before it actually came to light. We do know, in fact, that the Clinton's daughter, Chelsea Clinton, was butting heads repeatedly with Doug Band and others over this.
She got her wedding $3 million wedding paid for out of the Clinton Foundation. Is that part of the 501c3? What exactly is that? How do you do that? And when we talk about scandals and money and foreign policy, Act Blue, a vestibule of hundreds of billions of dollars.
The main reason she took the fifth, the main reason she wouldn't answer questions is because, I mean, here's the fundamental issue. Her Democrat lawyer, outside counsel, said, hey, in a memo sent to her, say, it looks like you misled Congress willfully and knowingly. And those last two words are important. That's intent. You intentionally misled Congress. That's a crime.
There's an African politician whose name I'm not even going to try to attempt to say, but she's a very smart lady. And she was here to tell us about how many decades foreign policy money in the name of Africa was used and the bastardization of what the American people were told.
We need to understand the real reason why USAID is in Africa. Their sole purpose was to act as if they're coming to rescue Africa. They're coming to fill in the gaps in government services, gaps in education, gaps in healthcare. They are coming in claiming that they're introducing grassroots initiatives that are going to help the people. And so they use that as a way to go into the most remote parts of Africa. They're talking about government advocacy. When you look at it on paper, it all looks really good, but they're actually wolf in sheep's clothing. They are using that open access sounding humanitarian to constantly destabilize governments. I can tell you right now, the majority of African leaders, and not just African leaders, but leaders in the developing world, are celebrating the exit of USAID.
You know what that means, Squirrel? They're celebrating Donald Trump in the same way we are. He finally put a stake in the heart of that fraud. Now, if we can get our own domestic scandals and frauds under control, we can celebrate in so much of what he's done in such a short period of time.
6. Here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back, basically 6-year low. And if we before Biden, as it's called, BO, before Obama. And it's fascinating to watch somebody who was attacked and is attacked right now by the Fourth Reich. He's a billionaire. And he's somebody who had an interaction with Donald Trump. And this is something you will not see. This was, ironically, on a business station today.
The reality is that most of us were lied to by the media about President Trump. And if you just go back to the source material, you should take away 2 things. 1, he didn't say half the things he said. And 2, why did these other people just fabricate what they wanted to say so that they could essentially assassinate his character? I think that that second thing is completely unacceptable in America, and there's still been no repercussions, really. I took the time to learn about it. I admitted where, the way that I met him was I admitted on the pod, which, has millions of viewers, and I said, I got it totally wrong, because I went and I watched Charlottesville, and the first person to call me?
Who was it?
President Trump. And I got to know him, and I put the phone down, I called my wife, and I said, we got it totally wrong. We were lied to. And then
like you were lied to by the 67 experts that told you Trump would create inflation. We'll be back.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Shaun Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
My next guest is a fascinating man when you really look at his history. He spent time working in government. As an academic, he had fellowships at Harvard University and the University of Oxford. We are going to talk to the author of the new book, America's 100 Years' War, How to Win Against Communism, about his life experiences, moreover, about his understanding of how we can defeat this in the new book, because we face it today as it was faced during the Cold War. His name is Bradley Thayer. We'll be joined by him to discuss his new book after Foxweiser News.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay. Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A blockade alongside negotiations. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says U.S. mediators spoke with Iranian leaders today, urging them to make a deal, but also telling Fox's Trey Yingst the military barrage on Iranian targets will not let up.
They'll continue until I say it's enough.
The president saying the U.S. will save energy targets in Iran for last.
And they have fight. You know, it's like a great boxer. You think you have him beat, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he gives you a shot. They have some fight left, but they don't have much.
The U.S. military says more than 20 ships and hundreds of aircraft are working to block passage to Iranian ports after Iran's attacks on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Lindsey Graham's sister Darlene has been sworn in to fill the remainder of her late brother's Senate term.
Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley conducted the ceremony on the Senate floor and then immediately after in the old Senate chamber, where Darlene was joined by her family members.
And that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Monday, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster appointed Darlene Graham to serve as interim senator. A separate special primary election will be held August 11th for those who want to run for a full 6-year term in November.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. This as Republicans and some Democrats lend support to a bill the late Senator Graham pushed that would punish countries for doing business with Russia.
The package would impose sanctions and tariffs on countries and companies doing business with Russia, including those buying oil, aimed at putting financial pressure on Moscow to end the war with Ukraine.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal says he believes the measure can pass in the Senate by next month. The bill has the support of President Trump. America's listening to Fox News.
WIND, Chicago. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, you're good. The spur slowing from the Edens to Glenview. Kennedy from the Jane Byrne interchange to O'Hare, that is a 40-minute trip. Outbound Eisenhower 50, Post Office to 390. Stevenson out 50 as well. Due Saba Lakeshore Drive to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. On the Dan Ryan, it's 28 minutes out, slowing in the Express, Pershing to Marquette. Inbound Express lanes, those are jammed. Pershing to the Stevenson. On Due Saba Lakeshore Drive, that remains heavy either direction. So is the Tri-State. Also westbound Reagan stop and go. Highland to Route 53. Car fire cleared, but the Jane Addams looks good. Not too bad on 355 at all. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and the Shaun Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 75. On Wednesday, expect mostly sunny skies and very hot weather with a high of 97. Wednesday night will be mainly clear, warm, and humid with a low of 76. Thursday will be hot with a mix of sun and clouds along with widely separated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The high temperature for Thursday will reach 94. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
Communism is so often described as an ideology or a belief that exists somewhere other than in the United States. Let me ask you, sir, just how serious a threat to our national security are these communist subversive activities in the United States today?
Well, I think they're serious. I think it's a matter that we should continue to give great care and attention to. We should support the laws which the United States has passed in order to protect us from those who would destroy us from within. We should sustain the Department of Justice in its efforts and the FBI, and we should be continually alert. I think if the United States is maintaining a strong society here in the United States, I think that we can meet any internal threat. The major threat is external and will continue.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. It conducts the Cold War, in short, with a wartime discipline no democracy would ever hope or wish to match. Nevertheless, every democracy recognizes the necessary restraints of national security. And the question remains whether those restraints need to be more strictly observed if we are to oppose this kind of attack as well as outright invasion.
You realize there's no such thing. You buy into this talk that there is a philosophy, there is a political system in communism. There is no such thing. It is only occupied, stoked, promoted by the covetous, by the unable, by the unfit, by the true face of greed in America.
Did you know that one of history's most influential and controversial figures, Karl Marx, once worked as a journalist for an American newspaper? Yes, the father of communism himself was a regular correspondent for the New York Daily Tribune in the 1850s. It's one of those fascinating historical ironies that the man who would go on to write the Communist Manifesto was earning his living writing for a capitalist newspaper in the heart of American capitalism. Marx wasn't just any contributor. He was actually one of the paper's most popular European correspondents. From his home in London, he would write detailed analyses of European politics, the economy, and social issues. His articles covered everything from the Crimean War to British colonial rule in India. The paper paid him about $10 per article, which would be worth about $300 today. But here's the really interesting part. Many of his articles were actually written by his friend and collaborator Friedrich Engels. Marx, perpetually struggling with poverty and health issues, would sometimes ask Engels to ghostwrite his columns.
Doesn't even exist. It's all a lie. My next guest wrote a book about this, America's 100-Year War, How to Win It Against Communism. You see, if anybody knows, it would be my next guest, who understands the present danger we face in the Chinese Communist Party, and moreover, present danger we face right here in our own government. He held fellowships at Harvard University, the University of Oxford, widely published author, commentator in a broad range of interests, author of the new book, America's 100-Year War, How to Win Against Communism. He is Dr. Bradley Thayer. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
Shaun, I'm doing great. How are you tonight? I hope you're doing well.
I am. And this is something that we need to focus. This is an organized system of the destruction of the principles that made us the youngest, the richest country, but moreover, the highest quality of life among all citizens, should they choose to participate. And as I see it, that's the one real flaw with capitalism, as it's called by Marx, is that it has one flaw and one flaw only. You actually have to participate. Communism, you don't. Communism, you don't have to do anything other than exist and you are entitled. It is really the definition of greed as I see it. I'm wondering if that came up in your research.
Well, it did. Really, the communist worldview, of course, is anti-American. It's antithetical to everything that we value as Americans, as President Trump has identified. As you know, Shaun, for the last few weeks, of course, he's made this a major issue, describing the difference between communism and the American way of life, American ideology and American values. And not a moment too soon from my point of view. He needs, I'm so glad that he's calling attention to it, and he's using the bully pulpit to make the argument of my book, really, that, there's communism and then there's Americanism. And as Trump said, you can either be a communist or you can be an American. It's that simple. It's that straightforward, and we need to recognize that.
You know, I'm curious to know if we are partially to blame. And when I say we, I mean the American culture as it is. After all, we adopted liberty. We inherited liberty. Liberty was something we were given. And what we don't understand is that there is no such thing as capitalism as it's talked about in Das Kapital and all the rest of it. What it really is propertyism. The property rights over your life, your work, and your earning. When the other is nothing more than an infringement on other people's property. I don't understand why should we break it down to the most basic principle of the beauty of what our system is and why it delivers the highest quality life to the ordinary man, no matter what color he is, no matter what his genitalia is, no matter what his sexual proclivity is. We are the greatest success story in the world, and we're the youngest country. Why are so many people fighting that rather than embracing it?
I think people are doing that because they don't understand really what communism is anymore. And the attitude that they have towards it is actually shaped by the communists themselves because, as you know, they've taken over the educational system, the universities, K through 12 education for so long. So folks in their teens, their 20s, their 30s have never been exposed to any type of recognition of what this evil ideology is. So I think that's, again, so incumbent upon us. I'm an older folk, and it's important for folks my age to teach, to instruct, as President Trump's trying to do, younger generations about what's really going on here. And that there's no free lunch. There never is, and there never has been. And communism is not about redistributing property. It's about power, and it's about tyranny. And that's why inevitably it's going to lead to tears and blood. If you follow the communist path, as has happened in every country where it's ever been tried, it's going to lead to a disaster. So Americans need to appreciate what they have, what our forebears gave us, and what we need to pass on to our progeny, which is a free society, the best society in the world, anchored in the best civilization, Western civilization that's ever existed. We need to appreciate that and teach others, Americans in particular, about that.
So you know how, first of all, you do not sound a day over 30, Dr. Bradley Thayer. Not a day over 30.
Well,
you sound like a wonderful,
you,
young, robust man. But do you know how I knew you were older? Because I also know that you had fellowships at Harvard University and Oxford, which means you are an anomaly even now, when these institutions, and so many like them, are really the ones who put the lipstick on the pig of the redistribution of feudalism, poverty, and misery, communism and socialism. These institutions that you really attended that used to be beacons of intellect, thought, understanding, and the always forever growing science of knowledge in every aspect. When did they become such an incubator for this philosophy that has destroyed everywhere it touched? This must offend you most of all.
It does indeed, and it happened over the last 50 years or so because the communists targeted the ideas industry. They recognized the importance of seizing control of the places where ideas are taught, ideas are made, and where they're sustained, and that's our K through 12 educational system and our universities. If you control those, you're going to control young people. And if you control young people in time, you'll control middle age and then older folk. So what Trump is trying to do, and what I argue in my book, is we need to regain control of our educational system. That's so important for us to achieve, and time is short to do it. So absolutely essential to do.
Well, what's interesting, too, is, you look at I call it the Fourth Reich. What we face today is not a Democrat party. It's not a Democrat socialist party. And communism is an interesting word, but to me, it all is embodied with their willingness to deny fact, their willingness to enforce this kind of fascism, to take away your right to rebut them. And I really view this as, in this country, by far the most dangerous time. And I'm well aware of before World War II, how the Nazis sold out Madison Square Garden, or how there were always communists to a certain extent since the time Karl Marx worked for the New York Daily Tribune. This is something that we've faced throughout the years. But I don't think it's ever had the kind of propaganda it has today. So it's a multi-front issue. And I'm wondering if you feel it's because they cut in these institutions that used to teach higher learning, but now they're very, very rich. When you went to Oxford, it had not half of the money it has now. Harvard, forget about it. Harvard was broke compared to what it is now. And yet it produces the real architects and the distributors of the American Fourth Reich. Do you think it was really an example of just cutting in these so-called higher institutions on their greed and their thirst for both power, but moreover money? Because after all, it's really a hedge fund that sometimes has classes, isn't it?
It is. I think you're right that it is an existential threat, and it's the gravest peril. Again, Trump has said this, right, that it is the gravest peril that we face. It's an existential threat, and it's happening right now. We see that with Mondami, the acceptance of the democratic socialists of America. We see that with victories, of course, that they've had in Colorado as well as in New York, and the growing muscle of the movement. But I think, to get to your point, absolutely, that there's an element of money, and that's provided by George Soros, right? It's provided by the Chinese Communist Party, working through front organizations, but it's also like folks like Soros and Neville Roy Singham, who explicitly is a communist living in Shanghai. Steve Jobs' widow, the Emerson Foundation, right? Yes. You've got a lot of these groups. You've got Tides, Arabella. You have a lot of front organizations that are driving this. Universities and the ideas industry are a problem, but we also need to recognize that the way communists move is through also these front organizations backed by these billionaires like Jobs' widow and Singham and Soros.
Yes, yes. Do you know what's interesting too, Doctor? I'm sure you figured this out. These foundations that they say they have, they really don't operate on their money. I love the way that people think that they're all magnanimous. George Soros isn't magnanimous. He's never done anything. He never spent a dime he didn't think he could make $2 on. And they open up these institutions. They take advantage of vestibules of liability and protection and tax avoidance. They open them up. They put $10 million in it, but it's our policy money that is crafted and created to go into the foundation and be used over and over and over again. And when you really look at what we've faced since Barack Obama, an anomaly himself, an enigma, a fraud. He's not from Chicago. He was raised in Indonesia. But when you look at what he's done to our debt and to our foreign policy and to our policy of entitlement spending, and you look at the insane amount of money that has been added on the backs of American people. It's called debt, but what is it really? It's the guarantee of future taxation, the guarantee of future tyranny from your government. And when you look at 18 years and this insane amount of money, and you look at it go out the door as policy money and come back through these entities, NGOs. You remember being young. Did you ever hear of an NGO? You were a lot smarter than me. I didn't hear of it. And then you look at the way they avoid any kind of scrutiny, and you look at the policy in USAID, and you look at these entities like Act Blue, which is what exactly? That is a communist think tank, a communist exchange bank, and they are getting money and they are funding it. And who gets to have the oversight are the very people who are beneficiaries of this. So I get this all the time from people, right? We've identified the problem. We've identified the $30 trillion. So this isn't necessarily just the boogeyman of what we say is communism, or even the true face of it and how it looks, and if it's in China or if it's in the former Soviet Union or Cuba. This is really from right there in Washington, D.C. And these 535 politicians who have orchestrated this scheme of what appears to be a legitimate policy, but really is nothing than enriching an ideology. How do we attack this successfully when they're the ones in charge of it all?
Yeah, I think that the corruption is rife. There's and the resources that they have and the way that they target it. Right, these NGOs are very specific about they target the representatives and senators, no doubt about it, and their staffs, but they also have such tremendous influence in the media. And they have tremendous influence really in the deeper government, in the deep state, as President Trump has identified, that it makes it, of course, it's a formidable adversary. And it's in part why it's such an existential threat that we face. Now, it's coming together where what was hidden, folks used to not admit that they were communists, right? Now they're proudly admitting they're communists, right? And so in the Democratic Party, in DSA, it just shows how deep and how formidable this threat is, and it's right now. And if we don't right the ship in terms of calling attention to this and taking policies to stop it, we're in dire straits. And I would just add, Shaun, too, you remember Southern Poverty Law Center, right?
Oh.
And how they've been caught out.
Yes.
In terms of funding, organizations that are committed to stop. I mean, it's almost, it's surrealistic.
It's comedy. It almost is comedy. Southern Poverty Law Group, which pretends to fight for the righteousness of racial abuse, is actually funding the KKK. No writer on Saturday Night Live has been that funny for 30 years, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I would say 40 years, actually, in the case of Saturday Night Live. But it's been a long time. But no, that's exactly right. And it shows how they operate, right, which is the Bolsheviks had an expression, the worse, the better, right? They wanted conditions to be bad. They wanted there to be crises, unrest, difficulty, because that was better for them, right? More likely that they were going to achieve power. And when you look at the Democrats, for example, the State of the Union address in February that President Trump gave, and they wouldn't stand for those American heroes, right?
Yes.
Well, that's the worse, the better, right? They're not interested in America. They're not interested in helping America. They're interested in overthrowing America. That's why they don't celebrate American heroes, right? That's not why they're not celebrating the strength and good deeds of the United States, but in fact celebrating everything that makes it weaker, more divided, and separate. So we need to see that.
Well, yeah, right. I think that's the beauty, right? There's a silver lining. There's always a silver lining. And the beauty of what we now live through is, number one, we have a tremendous amount of vehicles, venues, mediums, like the one we're on right now, and so many others on the internet, and the way in which even social media companies have given a platform to guys like me and you, and how your book will sell. So I honestly believe we're going to win. Number one, it's the only right answer. And sooner or later, you may live through terrible times and through terrible areas, but there's only one right answer. You could dilute yourself with the notion you can compromise with wrong. You can't. And these areas now in our country, when you talk about Mamdani, well, of course, he's only the natural transition and the result of what would happen in a corrupt theocracy like California, kleptocracy, really, where they just steal the money and the rest of it. Same thing in Chicago, same thing in New York or New Jersey. And that's the beauty of what we live in. It's obvious now. These are the areas where the quality of life is substandard, where civilization has degenerated so low that you think you're celebrating a weekend in Chicago where 40 people get shot, or 23, whatever the case is. So ultimately, we've got the best time to show. Do you want to live like a ghetto rat in a hopeless, feudalist society like New York, like Chicago, like parts of California, like New Jersey? Or do you want to live free? And this is on us now. And either we can pretend we can compromise with these scallywags, or we identify them and we refuse to compromise. That's really the beauty of Trump. If you really look, he talks about a deal, but ultimately, he's not really compromising with it more than he has to. And that's what we need to focus on, isn't it?
It is. We need to recognize what I call in the book the American Trinity, which is to have a rebirth of that. That's the American spirit, to recognize that Americans are unique people. We were created by some great men in 1776, but we also have an identity our values, our culture, right? Everything from baseball to the recognition of the greatness of the land to the spirit that animates us, the recognition that, what we've done, what we've sacrificed for, we owe to our grandparents, to our great-grandparents, to those who came before us, and we have to pass it on to our progeny. It's also the second element of the Trinity is our ideology of political liberalism, a belief in freedom, the rule of law, the fact that we've got rights. Those rights are given to us by God, and they're enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights and other amendments. That has to be celebrated. And then thirdly, the third component is Western civilization, that we stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand on those in our civilization who generated the art, the architecture, the music, the literature, but also the thought, to give us a scientific way of thinking, to give us our ideas and our beliefs that allowed our founding fathers to convert that into the best form of government that's ever existed. That has to be appreciated.
And they gave us law. They gave us law. And this ultimately, I've always felt this way. I'm curious to know your thoughts on it because you've been dealing with this your whole life. We've compromised with communism. We just don't call it communism. And it's our fault for doing it. But the law is, communism is illegal. I truly look at these policies, from Obamacare to Social Security to unemployment insurance, all the rest of it. I think none of it is constitutional. Do you think maybe we should fight that? And we need to fight that. Because if we don't, the only other recourse ultimately is violence. And we don't have to do that. The Constitution and the principles of our nation guarantee us to not be cast into servitude for our fellow American. Don't you think we need to fight it on the principles of what this country really is before we go to war?
Right. And that's what Trump is saying, right? When he's saying you could be an American or a communist, right? If you believe in the American spirit, if you believe in our liberties, our freedoms, if you believe in our institutions, and if you believe in Western civilization, then you're an American. Absolutely. And if you want to destroy those things, you're on the other side, right? You're on the side of the communists. And that's something that he recognizes, and I think more and more Americans are recognizing. They're seeing the true face of the Democratic Party in a way that it was always a little bit covered. Your point about Obamacare is exactly right. The communists advance by salami tactics. They're not going to go right away. He wants you to be dependent on the government for health care. So you have Obamacare, right? And it was up to Roberts to stop that, right? If Roberts, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, John Roberts,
I remember.
It was up to him to stop it, or Amy Coney Barrett to stop birthright citizenship. You can't have a republic where you have birthright citizenship, where you could have Chinese citizens, communist Chinese citizens, delivering a child here, but flying back to China. Maybe the infant never set a foot on American soil.
Yes.
And that person in 18 years will be voting. That person in 18 years will be voting in a U.S. election as you are, or as I am, or the audience is. And you can't have a republic based on that. So why do you have Supreme Court justices yield?
You know what else is a wonder? Well, it's because they're corrupted from one form or another. But you know what's fascinating? We have all these countries that practice communism. We have China. Nothing's bigger than China. Go to China. All these countries that practice it. Yet none of the American communists or the imported communists, those are my favorite one, communists with an accent. You don't want to go to those countries. You just want to ruin mine. I love the idea you wrote the book. I cannot wait to get it. Now, the book, America's 100 Years War, How to Win Against Communism, it doesn't come out till next month on the 18th. Where's the best place to go to make you and your publisher very, very happy as we all buy your book?
Well, Shaun, folks can go wherever they buy books. So Barnes & Noble or Amazon or elsewhere. It's going to be available widely. And I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity to talk with your audience and you about that this evening. And also grateful to Steve Bannon for writing the foreword to it. He really did a great job.
Really?
In lighting folks up and really explaining some of the importance of the book, too. So greatly appreciate it.
I can't wait to get the book. I'm going to get it. I'm going to order it myself, and then I'm going to have you send me one that you sign because I can't wait to meet you. I love the idea of what you represent because you represent a time when people were educated in the proper way to think, not how to betray their nation or to destroy Western civilization. I mean, you are an honor to these universities, which up until, a handful of decent people have been hot button topics because they work so tirelessly to promote what you fight against. So I love the fact that you represent a time in America and a time in education when smart people knew right and wrong. It has truly been a pleasure, Dr. Bradley Thayer. Thank you for making time, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Shaun, I look forward to meeting you as well. And let's hope that we'll once again return to that time. We'll once again return to the time where Americanism can be embraced.
Well, you're not going to get me. If I got to be communist, I'm going to do it where I can see all of my ancestors I miss dearly. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
We work a lifetime to build a legacy for our families, but the most enduring gift you can give them is the peace of mind you provide when they need it most. When you pre-plan your arrangements at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, you replace the weight of uncertainty with the gift of clarity. Secure today's costs and protect your family from making emotional and financial decisions at the time of need. It's a final act of love they'll never forget. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5400.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God. This is attorney Robert Nauman of Nauman & Associates. Thank you, 560 listeners, for your continual phone calls to request our service in your estate planning matters. To share an example, a couple met with our team about an adult child that will need assistance after they both pass away. We created a trust with provisions that will protect that adult child and the rest of the family for years after they're gone. Give us a call when you're facing special circumstances with adult children. We'd love to help you protect your estate and your family. NALawgroup.com or 847-593-8777.
Ross Shaw talks about building income in retirement.
You know, you can actually structure it in a way that have that $4,000 a month coming in the door every single month. So you don't have to look at the stock ticker and say, oh, the stock market's up today, stock market's down. You still got that $4,000 a month, and having that opportunity to take the vacations and do all the fun things in retirement that you always dream to do.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
It's News, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, clear and warm, a low of 76 tonight. One person is dead after a drowning in north suburban Fox Lake. A group of friends were boating when some decided to go swimming on Myers Bay. One individual sank beneath the water. Crews searched and found the missing swimmer, later pronounced dead at the scene, and there is an investigation underway. Supreme Court Justices Elena Kagan and Amy Coney Barrett appeared before a House Appropriations Subcommittee today for a hearing about the court's budget, asking for more than $200 million, partly to pay for increased security. Justice Barrett claims threats that she's faced while on the court have had an impact on her family.
Maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one.
Officials say the number of threats against judges is rising. Baseball's All-Star Game tonight. The news service of Allstate wish you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first. You're in good hands with Allstate. Your next news update is at 7. Continuous news at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a look at the roads with Jill Urchak.
On the outbound Edens, there are no reported delays. The Kennedy, 30 minutes downtown out to the airport, and the outbound Eisenhower, 40 minutes. Post office out to 390. Stevenson, a 40-minute trip out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway from DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and it's heavy inbound express lanes purging to the Stevenson. Outbound Dan Ryan, 22 minutes, stop and go, and those express purging to Marquette. Roadwork conditions causing delays outbound 4 to 115th down to 159. It is busy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State either way. Jane Addams is fine, but you are seeing tie-ups now along the Reagan as well as 355. This report is a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special members-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 75. Tomorrow, expect mostly sunny skies and very hot weather with a high of 97. Tomorrow night will be mainly clear, warm, and humid with a low of 76. Thursday will be hot with a mix of sun and clouds, along with widely separated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 94. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Hugh Hewitt has a solution for the birthright citizenship ruling.
A lot of people are passionate about it because Joe Biden broke the border, and there are birth tourism scandals more than you want to know about. And it's something that we ought to prosecute, something that we ought to prevent to the extent of the law possible via visa reform and via what the president has done, which is close the border.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Alex Marlowe at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going.
Today's hero, the rest-up bathroom custodian. Is there toilet paper? No. Paper towels? No. Clean stalls? Also no. But the soap dispenser is full, and that counts for something. Thanks, hero. Know what else keeps truckers going? Progressive's expanded cargo protection through their enhanced Cargo Plus coverage. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. Not available in California.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Selling a collection or just the high-end antiques? Get top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Nobody said there'd be math, Squirrel. Did I hear Mike's got that handsome son of a gun? Handsome, like Yul Brenner. Did I hear him say that the requested budget was 200 and what? So I looked it up, Squirrel. Requested budget for the Supreme Court. $225 to $228 million a year. How can that be? I'm dead serious about this. They make $320,000 a year, allegedly. $320,000 a year, there's 9 of them. Do the math. What are you talking about? You're talking about a hair over $3 million if you factor in the change. A hair. What the hell you get $220 million for? $220 million. And then you look, the Supreme Court must spend a tremendous amount on a buffet because visitor screening is $6.5 to $7 million. Visitor screening. How many visitors you get? Cybersecurity, $2.3 million. Okay. Where's the rest of the money? Personal and residential security, $14.6 million. Seems like a lot of fracking money that you can't account for, doesn't it, Squirrel? And then if you want to know why you have an overrun, it's the Fourth Reich in America. Did everybody forget this schmuckster?
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
And that's when he and the rest of the Fourth Reich oligarchy released the Antifa, Sissy Mafia. And all the paid protesters and fraud that isn't paid by George Soros or any one billionaire. It's not paid by anybody but us. We pay for it in a money laundering scheme.
You have all of these gigantic financial transactions. Now the question becomes, how do they funnel that back into the campaigns? Is that the small dollar donations that we see that show up at some lady's house and she's donated to Act Blue 52 times and she knows nothing about it?
Well, that's just one small aspect of it. So James O'Keefe, got to give that guy credit with the whole smurfing piece that he's done. And we got to be careful about what we're calling this. This is a research project because we're not licensed investigators.
Yeah, because they'll get audited. They'll get sued. Act Blue, thieving rat pigs, vestibular corruption. They'll get more of our foreign policy and domestic policy money.
We want to make sure that people understand that this money is going into organizations that this architecture was set up by Barack Obama to spread cash around the country.
You remember Barack? He likes a big broad. He likes big, ugly things. You see his library? Big and ugly, like his wife.
And to put money into political action committees, into non-government organizations, to fund candidates, to set up the whole architecture for a public relations machine, read basically propaganda machine, to promote the whole concept that we're a team. We've got great funding. It's all behind us. So here in Arizona, for example, the Arizona Democrat Party, not more than about 5 weeks ago, it replaced their chairman because their fundraising is 25% of what it was last year.
See, they're not actually getting money from people. They're getting money from policies. And, you know, when I was talking to Dr. Thayer in his new book about communism, we were warned. We were warned over and over and over again. Maybe there's that many kids, Squirrel. Do you remember Yuri Bezmenov? You remember this handsome son of a gun? He was a Soviet KGB agent. This was his mission. He would go from country to country and overthrow their governments by using the same tactics we're being overthrown with. And we got lucky in the 70s, Squirrel. He met an American woman. Oh, he liked them thick. He met a thick American woman. And he defected. And then he said his love and his admiration for America. And he tried to warn us, Squirrel.
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing.
He didn't know about our show, Squirrel, because the information is there. We're not cloudy or hazy. We've identified the problem. It's a confession, not a political party. When someone admits to being a member of the American Fourth Reich.
A rally in Charlottesville in 2017 was funded and organized by SPLC. They paid the guy who did that $270,000.
The actual organizer of the entire event.
Of that event. The one that has been the basis for screaming that Donald Trump is a racist. It was SPLC that organized, provided transportation for, and paid the person who did it $270,000. They made $65 million off that one event.
We're going to win, Squirrel, because the information is there. And we're going to be just as relentless in making certain the players are prosecuted. I don't care how long it takes us. You know why, Squirrel? There's no such thing anymore as the statute of limitations. Because after all, that schizophrenic fraud, financed by Reid Hoffman, the Epstein friend, E. Jean Carroll, who stole Law & Order SVU, Season 13, Episode 11, where she alleged to have been raped, where she was never raped. Maybe her cat Nipples was. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. If you're a business owner with unfiled tax returns, tax season is not your friend. This is when the IRS turns up the heat. They match 1099s. They review payroll filings. They compare bank deposits. And when returns are missing, they don't send you a warning. They take action. Penalties stack up fast. Liens become public. Bank levies can drain your account. I see it every year. Good business owners who waited too long. Not because they're crooks, but because they were overwhelmed. Let me be clear. Hiding makes it worse. Action makes it fixable. I help business owners get compliant, file what's missing, and negotiate from a position of strength, not fear. Don't wait for the next certified letter. Don't wait for a levy. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my daily email. I'll tell you exactly what to do next, step by step. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. Act now before the IRS acts first.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Time's up. The IRS isn't waiting. They're coming for your paycheck, your bank account, even your home. You ignored the letters. You thought it would go away. It won't. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, you are already in the crosshairs of the IRS. Wage garnishments, bank levies, tax liens, they're not threats, they're next. But here's the truth. You still have a chance to fight back. This is Patrick Noon with PJN Tax Solutions Group. We are a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Call us now at 630-415-5296. We don't do fluff. We get results. Call us now, 630-415-5296. That number again, 630-415-5296. Or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
AM 560, The Answer.
Squirrel, we start right now. DeSantis Hageman. I'm telling you, I love Harriet Hageman, not just because she sidelined Liz Cheney, who looks a lot like the mugshot for Nick Nolte, but because she is fierce. Refuses to capitulate to the fraud and the lies.
Romano, did you prosecute anyone related to January 6th for engaging in an insurrection?
No, Congresswoman.
I didn't think so. So Mr. Raskin's statement that someone was a convicted insurrectionist is actually inaccurate. Isn't that correct?
I wouldn't say it's inaccurate. A convicted insurrectionist.
She wasn't a convicted insurrectionist, was she?
Would the gentlelady yield?
No, I will not. Mr. Romano.
You accept seditious conspiracy?
She'll slap the taste out of your mouth, Raskin. You can't win a fight with a wet paper bag, sissy. Shut up!
Romano? As insurrection?
Romano? I will reclaim my time. Mr. Romano, did you prosecute anyone for engaging in an insurrection related to January 6th?
For the crime of insurrection?
You did not, did you?
No! Nobody! And it's funny when you look at these Democrats, and you look at the areas they reside over, and you look at the chaos and the collapse of society. Mandamni. Did you know, Squirrel, they changed the definition now of rape? Really? Huh.
Something else that she brought to my attention was the number of police officers obviously didn't increase. So you called her the night before. She was a little bit caught by surprise. She said, though, that rape and felony assaults are concerning to her in terms of those numbers, and that she, as the council, will continue to push for more officers. And she said that, the NYPD is touting low numbers, but she's looking at different numbers. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. Where is it?
Well, I believe the NYPD, when they put forward their numbers, what we're seeing are some of the lowest numbers that New York City has seen in recorded history, especially when it comes to murders and shootings. These are the lowest we've ever seen. And what I think is important to know is a lot of the increase in rape also comes from an expanded definition of what counts as rape.
What the hell?
Expanded definition of rape. They lie. They can't tell the truth. Greatest examples is when they open their mouth, like right there in Chirac. Silky G, riddled at the scandal of how many scandals has this fraud, this dimwit, this mimbo been involved with?
Look, government can't solve all our problems, but it should make life just a little easier. As Secretary of State, we demand better. We made it.
How many illegal aliens did this scumbag give driver's licenses to? How many deaths on Illinois roads? How many right now unqualified, non-English reading or speaking degenerates have an 18-wheeler?
Faster and easier to go to the DMV. But we made it harder for Trump and ICE to violate your rights.
There you go. Vote Democrat, I dare you. That's their real motto. Because they're not a political party, they're a Fourth Reich. Is this the fastest show ever, Squirrel? We'll be back in 21. Drag these cockroaches out from under the rocks.
Honey, I can't deal with this kitchen anymore. It's cramped and everything is outdated.
I know, but